Welcome in to Come Get Some. I'm your host, Blake Williams, here joined remotely with Mr. Come Get Some himself, Gregg Williams. And it's a beautiful day up here in Cleveland. G-Dub, I think the spring is finally, turned the corner up here in Cleveland. It's gorgeous up here at Burke Lakefront and on Lake Erie. Everything's going awesome up here in Cleveland right now. The Cavs are in the playoffs. Good things happening with the Guardians, and great things happening with the DC Defenders down there in Dallas as well, too, huh?
Yeah, it is, and everything's been going good. It's pretty hot here, and had a good weekend, but everything's going well.
Awesome, I mean, hey, did you get your? It's been a lakefront, capital. It's a busy week in the tax department. Did you get your taxes done, or do you just not care?
What I'm doing is that I've been filing lately, so I'll do it in October. I'll do it in October.
You filed it. Hey, that's what I was dealing with. A ton this week as well too. Is a ton of tax extensions. But that's why they do part of what they do down there in Texas as well too. Is no state income taxes. So no save doubt on that young league down there. But hey guys, we got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to talk a little Masters, see if G-Dub got a chance to watch any Masters in between his games this weekend and whatnot, but played on Saturday. So see if he got a chance to turn it on in the office or anything while he was preparing. We're going to get into a recap of his exciting comeback win on this past Saturday. Look forward at their upcoming game this weekend against undefeated two-time USFL champion Birmingham Stallions. And then talk a little bit more draft stories as well, too, as we continue to get close to the NFL draft. But, hey, stick right with us because when we get back, we're going to have a Masters recap. Welcome back in to Come Get Some, and this is our Masters recap segment right here. So we're going to talk Masters. So I know, G-Dub, I know you had your game on Saturday, but did you get a chance to watch, say, like on Sunday final round, did you get a chance to see any Masters when you were in the office, preparing and whatnot?
Yeah, I did, and I had, on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, even after our game on Sunday, I got a chance to go back and watch some, and I had it on in the background when I was grading some film on Saturday, and then had a chance the same thing as we had meetings. We gave the players the day off on Sunday because of a great win, and the coaches, we were all in there getting ready and grading and doing stuff, but I had time to throw some on, and it was always a great event.
It always is, and we're a big. I mean, for the viewers out there, don't we're a big sports family, like way more than even just say football. Yep. We played multiple sports growing up. G-Dub actually back in the day. I mean, coached multiple sports. G-Dub coached, was a high school gym teacher, coached basketball, was a basketball player, coached football, baseball, the whole
everything.
Thing. Swimming, track, like we did. Oh yeah, wrestling. We did it. We did it all. But we love golf. We love playing golf. We're weekend hackers, but love playing golf. Actually, G-Dub, I don't know if you got any of the, I was sending you Dave McAllister, Big Play Dave and I were sending you clips. I don't know if you saw, but we had a big time epic, the third annual Big Play Masters tournament in his simulator out at his house. Did you see that?
I saw that, and I thought that was fantastic. And you showed the view of all the different people that was there. I wish I could have done the commentating with all those slappies around.
Hey, you could only imagine. It was epic. I wasn't prepared for all of that. Like, I thought we were coming in playing. So this is my first year playing, and I thought we were going to be playing some like we were all going to be teeing off together or something, like playing like a tournament or something. No, we teed off at 3:30, and I played in the first foursome. All right, of the first round, we won, and I gotta I gotta admit that I tapped. I was like, Dave, dude, I'm sorry, I gotta tap out, I gotta leave. Otherwise, we probably would have won. But it finished at 3:07 a.m.
Oh my God!
12 hours.
I didn't know that.
12 hours. Of playing 16 teams. There's 3 rounds, first round, second round, and then the championship round. And my team. Obviously, my teammate had to find somebody to replace me because I bowed out at about midnight, and and they fell apart on the 17th of the championship, and so Big Play Dave and his partner ended up coming from behind and winning, on the 17th and 18th hole of the whole championship. But it was epic. But did you see Neil Shipley? So Neil Shipley, the only amateur that made the cut and got to play, was a Ohio State guy, a local guy here, Ohio State player. One of his high school teammates, who's I think a player maybe at Wisconsin, was his caddy, and he got to play with Tiger Woods on Sunday, and Sunday Red of all things.
Yeah, I got a chance to see a few clips, and I've seen him play before, but I didn't know that. I didn't see him on Sunday, and I think that's great. He got a chance to play with Tiger.
No doubt. It's funny. It's been going like viral. I don't know. It's just one of those typical, because we know you love the media so much. But some it's been the one viral thing is like they're interviewing him after the Masters, Neil Shipley, and they're like, "Hey, I saw Tiger, hand something to you, a handwritten note or a note to you on one of those, fairways or whatever. Like, what did it say? You want to share with that?" And he just Neil Shipley immediately turned and looked at somebody off camera, and then looked back, was like, "No, that did not happen. It was so awkward. Like, I have no idea what you're talking about." And then it was kind of like, okay, next question. Does somebody else want to have a question? But how about Bryson DeChambeau, right? Like, I know we're both DeChambeau fans. Yeah. Love how he's constant. Like, love his personality. Love how he is constantly pressing the boundaries. But did you see what he did with the 3D printed irons?
Yes, I did. I saw that, and I was going bananas as soon as I heard that came about. I read several stories about it, and try to focus in and watch him hit the ball with those kind of things and with those kind of clubs. And it's amazing what you can do nowadays with the 3D printers.
I mean, they say, like, hey, with AI, and then they say with 3D, like they say 3D printing is kind of like the AI renovation of like the manufacturing world, that eventually is just going to turn everything on its head, because AI and computers can way better, say, manufacture stuff with lasers and stuff, 3D printing than any other like human machines or human, touch and whatnot. But it's very interesting. But it's marketing. I mean, he's a smart when it comes to marketing. So he's got to have like equity in that company. He designed them. It was probably huge, better than even winning the Masters. I'm sure he's somehow, some way, like out of sponsorship or equity.
They say that he may have a little bit more ADHD than you.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Maybe if I swung as hard, I could hit the ball as far. I don't know. But we were joking there. I said he need to get a 3D putter though, because it fell apart there at the end. But and then what about Scotty Scheffler? I mean, obviously he continues to win. What's that? Two Masters out of the last three, right? I think it was him and then Rahm.
The last three.
Yeah, him and then Rahm and then back to him, because that was the thing, right? Like, he handed the green jacket to Rahm last year. Rahm handed the green jacket to him.
He's the second professional golfer ever to do that, win 2 out of 3.
Right, and so young, 27 years old. How about this? Here's a crazy stat, because I love stats. I love money too. Money manager. But Ted Scott, the great caddy and Scotty Scheffler's caddy, right? And so Scotty's been winning so much, right, for years. I mean, he's the number one golfer and won last year and even this year. But caddies customarily make like 10% of the winnings, and so if Ted Scott was a player, just making 10% of Scotty Scheffler's winnings, like if he was a player on the tour right now, he'd be 50th in the money. He'd be ranked 50th in the money just on as the caddy, So that shows you how much he's been making.
Those stories out there too. A few of those stories out there. People were negatively ripping Scotty because he hadn't won another major in over a year, and all the other things he was doing. And I'm thinking, can you be serious? Maybe he needs to hire me as his PR executive.
I promise you, he doesn't need to hire you as his PR executive. Like, he talked about his faith. He talked about his friends, and Jesus. In his post, which was awesome. It was awesome to hear. But I don't know that it wouldn't. He's not necessarily a come get some kind of guy. Highly competitive, and he talked about that and phenomenal athlete and how competitive he is, but not quite a come get some personality. He's a little bit more stoic.
And I think I've said this before. He was an all-state basketball player and turned down a basketball scholarship at the University of Texas to play golf. I mean, the guy can flat play. He's a very good athlete.
Right now, it's looking to be smart because he's making a ton on the course, a ton off the course, and he can do this longer than a lot longer than playing basketball, and so it's pretty smart. But hey, stick right with us because when we get back, we're going to recap the exciting, awesome, come from behind, wild finish by the DC Defenders this past weekend. Welcome back into Come Get Some. I'm your host, Blake Williams, here with Mr. Come Get Some himself, Gregg Williams, joining us from right across the street from Choctaw Stadium down in Arlington, Texas, where he just had an exciting win on Saturday. Huge come-from-behind win against the Arlington Renegades in what was a rematch of last year's XFL, formerly XFL, championship game, where the Renegades knocked off the DC Defenders, and the DC Defenders got some payback in this game this week, G-Dub. But talk a little bit about, or I'll recap for the fans. And so it was an epic come from behind game, and the rules in the UFL kind of make it, and it'll be very interesting to see if the NFL ever adopts that. I know that the NFL in their partnership with the league, the UFL, is using, the spring league to test a lot of technology and rules and stuff like that, but nobody's ever out. And so, for the fans out there, you don't kick extra points. Recapping again, we don't kick extra points, so you could score 9 points on a touchdown. You score a touchdown, and then you put the ball at either the 2 and go for 1, at the 5 and go for 2 extra points, or at the 10-yard line and go for 3. So you could score 9 points on a touchdown. But then in the fourth, there's no onside kicks either. And we know onside kicks in this day and age aren't very, they're not recovered at a very high rate. And so instead what happens is if you're down, you can only do this if you're down in the fourth quarter, but you can elect to go for it's an untimed down on the offense, and you get a 4th and 12 from the minus 28-yard line, and you either convert, and that's like recovering the kick. You convert and you just keep right on going right into your 2-minute drive, hurry up or whatever, or you don't convert and the other team gets the ball right there. And so DC was down 10 points with what, G-Dub, like a minute and a half, maybe under a minute and a half to go in the game.
It's all the way down to, like 1 minute, 18 seconds to go, and we're down 10 points.
And so G-Dub's team was down 10 points. The offense gets it. They go down. They score a touchdown. They go for 2, obviously, because they want to know right then and there. They want to know, hey, do we need a field goal to win it or a touchdown to win it, right? And so they went for 2, got it. And then they got their 4th and 12 attempt, converted that on a great play.
Great play.
Next play got another like 20-something yard gain, and all of a sudden now, after about 2 plays, they actually found themselves in where they were. DC was running the ball to run the clock down. So they ran the ball, and kicked a walk-off 49-yard field goal down the pipes to win by 1, 29-28, an epic comeback.
No time on the clock.
No time.
When it went through good, it was over with. And I headed straight to the locker room like I always do, because I have said so many times that sportsmanship is way overrated in professional sports.
Oh yeah, you're Mr. Sportsmanship. You're Mr. Sportsmanship. You love the post-game handshakes. That's what I saw, because everybody rushed the field. They're picking up the kicker. I was laughing. I was like, "Oh, where's G-Dub? Not there," But that was awesome, and congrats, by the way. And what do you think about all those rules, those different rules in the league from that standpoint, on the point afters, the onside kick, on offense, as an offensive untimed down, everything. What do you think about them?
Last year, in an experimental way, I had to kind of go through the process because I was really thinking negatively about all that stuff at the time, being all those 35 plus years in the NFL. After going through that, and also knowing that the onside kick is the most injury-related drill, injury-related play, and unsuccessful recovering it, but they just knock the living crap out of each other. Now I really am into it, and I do like the fact of how we have to be on the line of scrimmage, going for 1, going for 2, going for 3, at those yard lines, and the fans love that. The fans get to see more offense and defense and less just kicking the ball through the uprights. But I will tell you, well, Matt, what a great job he did. Our kickers and punters that whole ball game, people don't realize how much wind was going on that day. The wind was very strong, okay? And it's a swirling wind inside of Choctaw. The direction that we ended up winning the game, that Matt kicked the 49-yard field goal, he didn't like it. You know, in pregame warmups, and he didn't like going that direction, and he was constantly talking about how we can end the game in the half, going the direction he wanted to go. Hey, my hat's off to him for kicking that game-winning kick into a tough, windy condition, swirling wind. He did a fantastic job.
No doubt. And it's funny you mentioned that. Like, I'll talk about the kickers a little bit. So it's funny that you mentioned that, because as a spring league, and we've talked already about how like 325 of the 400 players that are currently playing in the UFL have all played in NFL games, right? And so like all that NFL experience, your kicker, included. But like through 3 weeks of the season now, of this season, like the kickers for a league that's like greatly kind of reducing kicking, so to say, they're 91% as a league on made field goals, and these are not chip shots. Like, the league's aggressive, right, because of all these different things. And so the league's like, most of the league is that when you're in those like 40-yard, 30-yard kind of chip shot kind of area field goals, and it's fourth down, like, teams are going for it. They're not kicking the field goals. Most of the teams are going for it. So it's more of these, like, when you're around midfield, the 50-yard field goals, or got to have it at the end of the game, that those teams are more attempting field goals. And so to be 91%, your kicker's got like at least 4 50-yard makes on the 50-plus yard makes on the year. The kid at Michigan, the Michigan Panthers, that hasn't kicked since high school,
he's got 2 from 60
plus, including the second longest ever in professional or semi-pro football, 64-yard game winner week 1. And so that's been very interesting to see from that standpoint. But hey, G-Dub, give us a kind of quick synopsis of the game,
Well, I thought our offense did a really good job, especially in the second half, and doing what it needed to be do to come back and win that game. Hey, great. I was so pissed about the way we played on defense that, as you would know, I didn't sleep for 2 days. I came straight back to the office, got on the film, and now I am going to say this. All the coaches know there may be some of the players on defense that missed 16 tackles. We dropped 4 interceptions that hit us in both ends, okay? We gave up over 400 yards of defense. There might be some guys that I coach this week that retire, okay? Because they're going to see the Gregg Williams at practice that I haven't shown the XFL and the UFL. We're going to tackle every day.
Good.
We're going to tackle. We're going to no. We're going to tackle in the locker room as they're getting dressed.
It looked like you guys needed it.
We're going to tackle when they come out of the shower. We're going to tackle getting out of their car to get back in the car or whatever.
We need to get a film of this. It's like Terry Tate, like Terry Tate office linebacker.
And we have been perceived as the best tackling team in this league for 2 years already. And last week, because of a fast turnaround and not having pads and all that kind of stuff on, we didn't do the tackling. Well, guess what, Blake? That's my fault. I don't blame it on the players. I don't blame it on the coaches. So now the real Gregg is coming out to see about retirement situations, okay? We are going to tackle in every period. We are going to tackle every day. And you know what? When we're on the scout team, our offense is going to be pissed because we're going to thud and stop all progress and then maybe let them go and run down the field acting like they score another touchdown.
So you're saying you're saying
it's going to be a good one.
I can see I poked the bear. And so you're saying it's going to be a come get some kind of week.
It's going to be a come get some kind of week, and we don't give up any explosive plays. And, one of the things that you saw and you texted me about after the game is it's 3 straight games where we've had a coverage bus give up a touchdown. This time we were man-to-man. They motioned over to a stack. We're going in and out, and one guy did do that, and the other guy did not. He locked his guy, and we gave up the vertical for a touchdown. And again,
I saw it.
That will be another drill. That will be a retirement drill. I'm going to call these drills retiring drills to see if they really want to play the way they have to play.
He's like the Junction Boys, huh? You're going back. You're going back to the Junction Boys, like your Bear Bryant, Jack Pardee days, huh? You're down there. Like you're down there in that general area where Bear Bryant took Jack Pardee and all those Junction Boys back in. Yep. What year was that?
That was back 50s, in the 60s.
Yeah, early 60s.
66. And
something like that.
This, so, and I told you before, Bear Bryant was the one who got me to go over in the coaching because I was trying to decide.
With Jack Pardee, yep.
It was Jack Pardee too. And how about this? He said, hey, so you're trying to decide on whether you're going to be a doctor or a coach? Well, let me tell you something. I'd start out doing that coaching stuff first because we ain't going to hire no dumbass doctor who don't want to do that to come be a coach. And so I did coaches first, and I've stayed in it. And that Bear Bryant was the guy who told me.
Hey, that means you're old. Hey, my checks are a little bit too. I was gonna say a houndstooth thing, but no, it's too big to be houndstooth. But no, I mean it was glaring. Obviously, like I was shocked that you guys gave up 400 because it didn't feel like that. And here's what it came down to, right? Like tackling. But I'm saying tackling, getting off the field on third down, and then, like you said, like the busted coverage, right? Because for the fans that didn't see the game, it was an interesting game because it's like first and second down was swarming dominant. Luis
all over it.
Luis Perez, who I believe belongs in an NFL camp. I've said that for 2 years. If you watch everything that he does, how he reads the defenses, how he processes it. Now, like you said, there was 4 dropped interceptions, like, in you guys' hands. The game changes drastically. But it was just like tackling. I mean, even the shallow cross shovel on third down, third down and long that they converted was a missed tackle on free hitters, right? And all of a sudden it ends up being a 25-yard gain in a first down. But yeah, they got out of a bunch of spots by converting on third down and long, the busted coverage touchdown.
We had only given up 4 out of 21.
I know. You guys were leading the league until that game.
Yeah, leading the league drastically, and this time they were 13 for 18 on third down.
But that's the game's won in special situations. Yeah,
and we forced them into 18 third down.
I know.
That's what you're saying. We're
multiple fourth downs too.
Second down.
Yep, multiple fourth downs and whatnot. But it was an interesting game. Yep, you guys won all the fourth downs when you guys had it, but it was a great game, hard fought game. Like that's why you play until the very end. It was awesome to see that championship spirit. Two teams that are continuing to be great.
Fun. It really was fun.
But hey, speaking of championship spirit, we're gonna take a break, and when we get back here, we're gonna talk about the big time matchup that's coming this weekend. Welcome back into Come Get Some, and we're talking about UFL right now, the exciting spring league. We just had a recap of the previous week by the DC Defenders with dripping with salt in this from G-Dub. And so as we get into this weekend, though, if you think last weekend was must-see TV, which it was with the recap of the XFL championship game from last year with the DC Defenders knocking off the Renegades in an awesome fashion, this week is even more must-see TV. And so G-Dub, and they play this week. The DC Defenders, G-Dub's team, the most dominant team from the XFL from last year, are playing the Birmingham Stallions, who are the only undefeated team in 3-0 in the league this year, and they were the back-to-back previous 2 years USFL, the other part of the merged league, USFL champions from the past 2 years. They're playing prime time on Fox, right, G-Dub, on Fox at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. This upcoming Saturday at 7 p.m. And it's going to be must-see TV. But hey, what makes,
and that's Eastern time. It'll be 6 on Central.
But from what you've seen so far, and I know they've got Skip Holtz is the head coach, right? Lou Holtz's son, Skip Holtz is the head coach for the Birmingham Stallions, and runs kind of his college offense that he's ran for years. Legendary, I know a good friend of ours from back in the day, but a legendary longtime SEC defensive coordinator, John Chavis, is the defensive coordinator for the Birmingham Stallions, and so it's like they're not only talented, but got a great coaching staff just like you guys, and so it's going to be must-see TV. But what makes Birmingham so good off of what you've already seen from them?
A few things. First off, they've done a good job of acquiring talented football players and players that have been in the NFL and are fighting to get back in there. They've got very good talent at every position area, offense, defense, and special teams. Now, John is doing a really good job of adapting to some of the things they're doing defensively. He's not overly tricking a lot of different people, but I'm talking they play hard and they play very, very physical on defense
and sound. Now, they're leading. They're leading the league in points allowed right now, and they're leading the league in sacks. In fact, I don't know if you saw, but Skip Holtz had the funny. And he was being serious, like we know as coaches, he was being serious, but it was kind of funny, tongue in cheek as well too. As he was saying all through training camp, he didn't know if they were just that bad on the offensive line and going to be that bad, or they were going to be that good on the defensive line. And we've had years though, we've had so many dominant defensive lines, like at the Titans and the Rams and the Jets, where we thought that same thing as well too, where we didn't know like, hey, are we that good because they can't block us in practice, or are we just going to be that bad on the offensive line? But yeah, what else are you seeing? What about from the offensive side of things? Like I saw they had obviously their quarterback Nebraska kid had the first 300-yard plus passing day of the season for a quarterback just this past weekend. But what makes them so good on offense?
Is traditionally Skip Holt's offense. What you've seen him do in college, he's doing the same thing with formation. They're basically 11 personnel, a little bit of 12, but they have a 22 GG package down on the goal line.
So explain that. What's good? So explain that to the fans out there. I mean, I'm sure some of them know, but like, so 11 personnel. Like, what's 11 personnel?
Well, that is 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back, and the 11 goes 1 tight end, 1 back.
And so 1 tight end, 1 back, and then 3 wide receivers, so spread, and then 12 personnel.
Is what it is it's 1 running back and 2 tight ends.
Right, and so the 2 wide receivers, and then talking about what's 22 GG in your vernacular, so they know.
22 is it's going to be
it's a come get some package,
okay? And 2 backs, 2 running backs, and 2 tight ends, and then they bring an extra offensive lineman out on the field to play a tight end in short yardage. But what you're going to love,
so the tight ends are offensive linemen. Yep.
Yeah, the old-fashioned double tight T formation for short yardage and goal line. And you got to be physical, and they are very physical. Now, the other thing that Skip does, and he's done a very good job on the traditional way of when to take shots, how you max things up, how he's trying to identify man-zone combinations on where he lines the tight up to declare, are you in a man on him or are you in zone? But here's the last thing. These two running backs are physical, downhill running backs. And they'll run the power scheme. They'll run the different things where they can pull linemen and stuff. And now Martinez, number 9, the quarterback, can flat fly.
Yeah, he can run. I mean, that's what I always remember watching him at Nebraska. Run. He would scramble out the gate for like 70-yard touchdowns, just scrambling. Yep.
He can do that. And what we have to understand is how we have to cage rush, but also what we'll be doing with rat players to be able to be assigned to the quarterback on scrambles. And we got to have people that are fast enough to still run him down to do that, on how we go about disguising and doing that right there. Because, listen to me now, he holds the ball, Skip wants him to hold the ball long enough to get vertical routes and stuff. But instead of going 1, 2, he goes 1, run. And as you watch him, when he's trying to go to a check down or a second receiver, many times he feels like I can run better than the guy I'm getting ready to throw.
Be his own check down. Yeah, be his own check down sort of thing. I get that. Own
check down. So we've got to do a good job in the run game. We've got to do a good job of forcing them into those down and distances to where we can actually go get them. And then we're going to bring people that can they block all of them. And then when we don't bring people, do we have enough to where we can rat the quarterback and keep him from escaping and keeping the chains moving?
Awesome. So those are the keys to victory then. What? Controlling the run game.
Controlling the run game. Keeping the ball away. No explosive plays. Okay. We can't be doing that.
No busted coverage. Yep.
I may buy a beer on the way home if we don't give up a touchdown.
A garage beer?
Garage
beer?
I don't know.
Hey, I got a new tap. I got a garage beer tap. When the season's over and you come back to the man cave up here in Cleveland, you'll see.
No, I just put a bed down right there. That's where I'll sleep. That's perfect.
That's awesome. Well, hey, good luck again. 7:00 on Fox, 7 p.m. this Saturday, the 20th. Tune in. It's going to be must-see TV. The best team from the two merged leagues going at it for the first time ever. It'll be awesome. Good luck, G-Dub. And stick right with us because when we get back, we're going to talk some more old school NFL draft stories of ours. Welcome back into Come Get Some. And I know we've been talking spring football, but in the NFL league, right, this is the draft season. And I know on our previous episode, we've been talking draft. We talked combine back when it was that area. Last week, we talked some old draft stories of ours. And I think we wanted to get into some more old draft stories of ours, right? Continue to talk about some of the these first round draft picks, right? You hit on, all the down the line, draft picks, the undrafted guys. We've had so many great, all pro undrafted guys, that somebody said wasn't good enough to be drafted. They went on to be Pro Bowlers, All Pros, Hall of Famers. But talking about kind of the draft process on those first rounders, and we have hit on so many of them, or pretty much all of them on the defensive side, at least But let's start out with going all the way back to Keith Bulluck, G-Dub. Keith Bulluck. And so what did you guys see from Keith Bulluck in that draft process that had you guys draft him there 30th at the Tennessee Titans at the end of the first round?
Well, athletically, I thought he was rare, and he could do so many things in space that a lot of linebackers don't have enough movement to be able to do that.
Especially at that time, right?
Cover. At that time, now he could play like a wide receiver. He could play like a safety, covering people, covering man to man. But he could also do a great job of being physical and downhill in the run game, and then chasing overlap type gaps that you have to overlap in the Tampa cover 2. He could chase things down that way, and was a very physical ball player, and had enough intelligence that I could load him up with quite a few things, and could still be very versatile and very productive as a player.
Yeah, 6'3", 235, 238 pounds, running a 4.4, right? And I think you maybe didn't fully know it then, maybe, but like that was, looking back at it, like that was maybe the genesis in your scheme. You're taking the old school 46 approach, marrying it with the best of Dick LeBeau's pressures and the best of the Tampa 2 stuff as well too. And that was kind of the first middle linebacker that was kind of different, for you guys, where like I don't remember like back in the past for you guys in the Houston Oilers days, early Titans days, but from Keith Bulluck on, that middle linebacker became a different athlete and a different mental guy out there, and really being the quarterback of that defense on top of the athleticism. You would always say, hey, I want a guy that's got the leadership and the mentals and the studying on top of the athleticism, that he himself can play at a Pro Bowl level while telling everybody else what to do and raise everybody else's play, so that's distracting him a little bit, so to say, and he can still himself play at a Pro Bowl level. That takes a different level of guy, and Keith Bulluck was probably the first in that line, right? Because then you go to London Fletcher, Antonio Pierce, back to London Fletcher, Jonathan Vilma, James Laurinaitis, right? Joe Schobert, C.J. Mosley, right?
C.J. Mosley,
right? Those guys were Pro Bowlers, and all pros year in, year out at each place playing that position. Yep. What about here?
All of them were great.
So here's another one, right? And this one was kind of interesting because you already had a Pro Bowl running back in Travis Henry at the Buffalo Bills, and Willis McGahee, had just blown out his knee, right, in the national championship game. Everything in his knee, and we all remember that national championship game, and you knew he's kind of gonna redshirt for a year. What did you see on the film, and what did you get in terms of just like the recruiting process, the meeting process that said, hey, I'm gonna take this guy in the first round and know that we're gonna redshirt him and sit him for a year?
And what a great human being. Raised his mom as a phenomenal person. And he had a really good career when people didn't think that he would ever be able to play again. Not only did he tear he tore all 3 major ligaments and knocked bones chips off of that knee,
right,
and how he was able to battle.
So what you
back
got? What
and be
made
able to
that
do
decision? Like what? Like we know like that. It's like what made, and that's why so many people they wouldn't have taken him where you took him, and or had
20th
like
pick,
medically
21st pick.
disqualified him, right? And so what
Yeah.
made you take him in the first round, knowing, hey, not only are we not going to medically disqualify this guy, but we're going to spend a first round draft pick on this dude, knowing that he's not going to play until his second year in the league. And so what did you see? What made you guys go that route and know that he was going to be the player that he was?
We end up giving quite a bit of value to character, quite a bit of power to leadership, and knowing that once he did get healthy, he was going to be that kind of guy that could lead the team.
I remember because I was a freshman in college, right, playing at Princeton, and I remember being home and seeing him, and he just gotten there and everything, the whole knee, and I remember this. He had the golf carts. He had the golf carts, that the trainers and stuff drive around on a harness, and he was out there and he was pulling those golf carts. And I'm like, dude, this dude's not gonna even be able to, like, they're saying put on pads until next year this time, and he's already out here pulling these like golf carts around. Like he's made different. But let's talk about another dude who is made different, and there was maybe leading up to it a lot of different people thinking a lot of different things about him, and you guys took him number 12 overall in this little sawed off ACC, playing at the University of Pitt. And he just retired here this offseason after a surefire first ballot Hall of Fame career. But talk about Aaron Donald and what you saw in that draft process and what made you stand on the table and pick him.
Well, a couple of things, because I'd have taken him even higher than that. And I was getting ripped in the draft meetings because why would I even think about doing that? Your brother playing in that same league.
My little brother Chase, for the viewers out there, he was the captain and middle linebacker at Virginia Tech, so he had to play against Aaron Donald in Pitt every year. And Logan Thomas, who's still playing tight end in the NFL, was the quarterback for that Virginia Tech team, who was super big and athletic, but they couldn't even block Aaron Donald.
I got a chance to for 3 straight years, all 3 years that Aaron played at Pitt. The bye week, whatever it was when he was playing Virginia Tech at Pitt or at Virginia Tech. So I watched him from the sideline. Frank Beamer let me stand on the sideline, and I watched and felt him check, come get some, and slap those Virginia Tech guys around that went on to play in the NFL too. So I had a really good feel about that. Now, it's funny as all get out for me to hear GMs, scouts, all this kind of stuff say that they love him. They didn't. They were hung up on the numbers. They were hung up on the measurables. And Mike Waffle and I had to stand up in the meeting.
Mike Waffle, the great OG D-line coach for the Rams, who was also the D-line coach on all those great pass rushes that won those 2 Super Bowls at the Giants. Justin Tuck, OCU Manure, all those guys, and then the great D-line coach that built it there at the Rams, no doubt. And it was interesting. If you remember, I was trying to be greedy, right? Like I was pounding the table for two. Do you remember what I mean? You guys decided to go Gregg Robinson. The decision. I say you guys, the decision makers above decided to go Gregg Robinson, the offensive tackle from Auburn. And then in the with the second pick or the third pick or whatever, and then go Aaron Donald. But what I said was the whole entire time was, hey, I mean, like not trying to be selfish, but like if you want to be truly different, like we should go Khalil Mack and then go Aaron Donald. And you put Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald with
on the same team
with Chris Long and Robert Quinn and Michael Brockers, and they may not be able to snap the ball.
All those guys.
And then Andor said, and this is no knock to other people, but like my thing was like, if you go offensive tackle, like, I mean, why would you not go Jake Matthews, who you've known since he was born and coached his Hall of Fame father, coached his Hall of Fame father as a player, and played with that same Hall of Fame father in college as a player, or Taylor Lewan. But revisionist history, we got hit the one of one with Aaron Donald. Although I still would have loved it. I still would have loved to see that Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald mix with Robert Quinn and Chris Long.
And I have to say this on the show because I want him to watch it. And not only did I pick him, I also wanted to pick and coach a defensive Hall of Famer that was shorter than me. I am taller than Aaron Donald, and he cannot stand me saying that.
Hey, that's okay because his bank account is taller, and he's gonna be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But
he'll be first ballot.
But he always remembers where he started from that standpoint and whatnot. And so it is awesome to see. I mean, we all know like he could have played forever if he wanted to. It's interesting to see. And it's cool to see like these players like the J.J. Watts, the Aaron Donalds of the world right now, where kind of the money with the rookie wage scale has been pushed back, right? You know, to where less for unguaranteed players or players that haven't proven it, and pushing it more back to these great players who have proven it, and so they can make so much generational wealth and retire maybe earlier while their body's still healthy because they feel like they've achieved it all, and he even has got a ring, right? And so they don't have to keep doing it. It's just interesting to watch that where, you know, some guys are retiring earlier and earlier, so they can still have that standard of living, you know, for the rest of their life.
And you know, and I didn't even tell you back in, towards the end of January, he called me and talked to me about this, and we had a long conversation about was it time. And then it finally came out, but he said, you can't tell anybody. You can't tell anybody. You can't tell anybody. I said, I'm not going to tell anybody about our conversation. And he retired in March.
Maybe you should try to see if you can get him, like especially when you guys get to the playoffs, come down and like do a 2-week deal and come play for you. Play for you guys.
There you go.
And/or come down and do some guest coaching maybe. Tell him he needs to. He doesn't have anything to do now.
I'm going to make him do that, yes.
Or come down and be the strength coach. You know, that dude's a freak in the weight room. But, hey, we've got We've got great stories. We're going to continue all the way up to NFL draft. We can continue to hit you with some of our favorite NFL draft stories. But stick right with us because when we get back, we're going to get to our closing segment. Welcome back to Come Get Some, and this is our closing segment. And G-Dub, I think we in a previous episode, right? We previously predicted correctly. If you saw the women's NCAA women's national championship game had 4 million more viewers. Now, interesting enough, I can't even remember the number. I think it was like 690. Like even though the men's final for the men's March Madness had less viewers. Yeah, they had like 695 million or something like that more in revenue that they brought in, from it. And so it'll be interesting to see if that flips. But the WNBA draft is this week, seeing if, like, obviously we all think that Caitlin Clark, the phenom, the star, is going number 1 overall. And,
number 1.
And I don't know if you saw this, but because I know you were playing on Saturday, but Saturday Night Live, she was on Saturday Night Live this past weekend, and she did well. She did awesome. She killed it. She kind of poked and prodded them, like having previously made kind of like, I don't know, sexist type basketball jokes and whatnot, and she kind of ribbed all those people, and then she wrote her own jokes and made them say them, like the final punchline was like, I just got 3 words for you. She's like, be, and he had to like read it off the teleprompter. He's like, be funnier, dumbass. And he was like, oh, okay. And whatnot. But it was pretty funny. But it'll be awesome to see Caitlin Clark, go hopefully number 1 overall, and see that all that star power that's coming into that league this year, and see if the NIL and everything that's been going on in NIL can transfer over to that league and continue to market that league well. But hey, we've had a great show for us. Tune in this week, 7 p.m. on Fox, an awesome UFL game. G-Dub, I know it's going to be a come get some week, so send us out.
It's going to be that way. Ready, break.